Hi, everybody. Today is Tuesday, the 22nd of, no, it's the 21st of October, 2025. It's a recovery from relapse special focus meeting. And I'm absolutely delighted today to introduce Hilary H. Hilary is from Los Angeles and is still residing there. Came to OA round about 2020, and I'm going to hand it over to her now to tell you her experience, strength, and hope. Hilary, take it away, my love.
Hi, good day, whatever time of day it is for for you where you are in the world. My name is Hilary. I'm a grateful recovering compulsive overeater in Los Angeles, where it's still very dark outside. Um, Thank you, Rita, for asking me to share. I'm already getting a little weepy. I know some of you have heard my story before, and I'm so happy to see so many familiar faces on this screen this morning with me. I'm just going to sit by saying the set aside prayer. God, today help me set aside everything I think I know about you, everything I think I know about myself, everything I think I know about others, and everything I think I know about my own recovery, so that I may have an open mind and a new experience with all these things. Please help me see the truth. Um, the truth. Wow, that's heavy. Every day more is revealed. This is kind of an amazing program. Uncover, discover, discard is kind of the theme for my time in the rooms. Um, I'm going to back up and tell you a little bit about myself and how I know that I belong here. To quote Lady Gaga, I was born this way. Some of my earliest memories are of compulsive overeating. And, I've heard people in the rooms make these really grandiose blanket statements like, if you're binging on fruit, you're not really one of us. If you had a happy childhood, you're not really one of us. If you're this, you're that. Um, yes, I had a happy childhood, loving parents, um, normal amount of dysfunction, but loving family, um, binged. My father was in the produce business, so he'd bring home on the weekends these big lugs of like fruit and things, and I could binge apricots, so much that I would be sick. Or my mom would have these dinner parties and there'd be leftovers. And I remember as a kid standing on my tippy toes trying to get into the refrigerator to eat the leftovers, just standing there, just eating, just eating. I don't know, I was 4 or 5. Um, And I didn't have a weight problem, but I was definitely a compulsive overeater. And I think I always knew that it wasn't kind of normal what I was doing. Um, I have all these periods of memories where I remember one summer I was obsessed with these little candies. Um, at my day camp, there was a little snack shop at the park that we met at, and I was furiously running through the house and going through all the chairs and pockets and looking for loose change so I could buy these candies. I mean, camp was just about candy. Um, and there was always something that I was just so into. Um, but it wasn't a weight issue, but it was a food issue. And it was really a food issue. Like, I mean, I was obsessed. Um, you know, my teenage years, this is a disease that runs in my family, definitely. I'm not here to diagnose my four sisters, my parents, but I definitely had partners in crime. Um, and I remember, and I'm going to age myself, but at a time I was in, I think I was in high school. I didn't have a driver's license yet, maybe not in high school. My mom sent my sister and I to the supermarket, and it was right when supermarkets had changed from like the manual entering the prices into scanning. So now you know my age. And my mom sent us with a list, and my sister, who's a couple years older than I am, said, Hey, let's buy this box of cookies and we can eat them in the car on the way home. Mind you, on the way home, it's like 6 blocks. It's not, this is not a big distance here to eat a box of cookies. And we did. We bought the box of cookies. I can tell you what kind of cookies they are. I could taste them in my mouth right now, just thinking about them. And we ate the box of cookies and we put them in the bin on the way into the house. And my mom, because these receipts were new, she went through the itemized receipt and she looked and she said, "Hey girls, where are these cookies?" We don't know what you're talking about. We ate them in the car, Mom. They're gone. Evidence is gone, right? So there was a sneaky, sneaky bit. And it wasn't just about the compulsive compulsion. I also couldn't understand people who had normal behavior. I wanted the normal behavior, right? So my friend Jamie, who I ended up making amends to, and she asked me how I knew I was a compulsive overeater. So I told her this story. In high school, we had this 10-minute nutrition break to eat a snack. And somehow she and I always landed up in the cafeteria. And she would get the same thing every day, right? She'd get this donut and chocolate milk. It was a chocolate donut. I don't, and she would drink 2 gulps of the chocolate milk, eat 2 bites of the donut, and trash the rest every day. And when she said, "How do you know you're a compulsive overeater?" And I said, "Jamie, I don't like chocolate. I don't like chocolate milk or chocolate donuts, but I'm still don't understand how you didn't finish your donut every day. How did you waste that? How did you let that go?" And I'm thinking, this is like, oh my God, 40 years ago, right? And I'm still thinking about her half-eaten donut. What's wrong with me? Why can't but these are the stories that I take with me. And I still didn't have a real weight problem. But then things got real. Things got really real. It was I finished high school and um my mom was sick. She had cancer. And I'm the youngest of my family and I think I didn't really know the drill. I didn't really know how bad things were and I left to go to sleepaway camp. It was my last summer working at camp. And I was gone for 6 weeks, and when I was coming back, my sister was getting married. My sister, who was a partner in cookie eating, and I went to camp, and I proceeded to eat so much at canteen that I basically got paid about 50 cents for my 6 weeks of work because I ate my whole paycheck. And when I got off the plane, I don't know because I didn't weigh myself, but I had gone from like a size 8 to a size 14. So I probably gained about 40 pounds in 6 weeks. Pretty shocking. Pretty shocking to my mom, who was stage 4 cancer, picking me up at the airport and saw me um, get off the plane. Yeah. Um, they had to obviously let my dress out for the wedding. Um, I can't even look at the pictures to that wedding because to this day, every picture I look at, until program, every picture I look at, I don't see me or the event. I see the size of the dress I was wearing and how it made me feel or how I thought I looked at that event. So my sister's wedding pictures, ooh, not good. Just not good. A lot of pink taffeta, not good. Um, so, the wedding was over and here I was, larger than I had ever been. And my mom, sick as she was, took me to the mall to buy clothes to leave for college. I was leaving for New York. And I remember being in the dressing room with her, and she said to me, "This is the end of the line for you here at this store. If you gain any more weight, we can't shop here anymore." And it still didn't really hit me. You know, it hit me enough that I was uncomfortable that I started white knuckling. And that's really when I just started a period of just my life white knuckling. and I was up and down like a yo-yo. And really up and down, more up than down, you know, um, and never happy. I mean, I thought I was a really great person, but never pure of heart. Um, I opened this page on the book on page 61, and it says, he may be kind, considerate, patient, generous, even modest and self-sacrificing. On the other hand, he may be mean, egotistical, selfish, dishonest. But as with most humans, he is more likely to have varied traits. I had varied traits, but I want to tell you, nobody worked as hard as I did, right? I was the most self-sacrificing. I did the most in my family. I. So fast forward, um, before COVID, um, I I had dated somebody and decided to go on after we broke up, oh, he lives in my building. He decided to go on a revenge diet. And so I white knuckled and lost so much weight. I think it was like the thinnest I had been since like pre-puberty. Um, and I felt great. I looked great. I had a lot of attention, but I was a mess in my head. I mean, white knuckling, it was all my energy. I went to sleep not counting sheep. I was counting calories every night, counting calories, counting calories. Was this a good day? Was this a good day? I wake up in the morning. Was yesterday a good day? Was yesterday a good day? Today can be a good day. How did I do? What did I do? How many calories? What was the number? And I got back together with him, and guess what? It didn't work. We broke up again. And I kept the weight off for a little bit, but I was still tortured. I mean, I was so tortured. I was awful to my family. I was the actor trying to direct the show. And I mean, it was my way or the highway. And my role in my family is I'm the orchestrator. I'm the Lucille Ball looking for my Ethel. I'm always the one who my partner needs everything that I tell them to do, right? Do people comply? And now I have words to explain, but it was always this buildup of human emotion. Why aren't my family members working so hard as I am? Why aren't we trying this way? Why, me, why? It was all about me. But I was doing service. I was doing things. I was contributing. But nobody was doing it the way I needed them to do it. I needed them to do it a certain way. And then came COVID, and the weight started really slipping on. And my nephew, who's an adult, was living with me. And the food became such a big deal. It became such a huge part of me. I know I was crying at times over it. I couldn't control. I couldn't control it as much as I wanted to. I would have no food in the house and I still couldn't control it, right? No food in the house doesn't work anymore because there's so many delivery services, you know. And I was a mess. I was a mess at work. I was a mess with my home life. I don't even know how I have friends. But I must have held it together a little bit better for them. And I I guess it got so bad, and I was in therapy, and I finally said to my therapist, who I trusted immensely, but I blurted out and cried. Um, I have an eating disorder. And I had been working with her for at least a year. And she looked at me. She said, What do you mean? I mean, I was at a healthy body weight. She said, what do you mean? And I said, I think I have binge eating disorder. Oh, of course, I'm a doctor, so I'm gonna also diagnose myself. So I have a medical diagnosis, binge eating disorder. So she's like, well, she said, what does the binge look like? I don't know what my, oh, what does the binge look like? And I said, what do you, and I literally almost blurted out to her,
That's
what do you
15.
mean thank you. What do you mean, you skinny bitch? If you have to ask what my binge looks like, how many calories I'm eating, you don't understand what a binge is. But I didn't, I refrained. I just said, it's so bad, it's uncontrolled. I mean, I was weeping. And actually, just a few months ago, I told her that was my initial reaction. That's what I wanted to say to her. And she's like, it's so interesting because you don't know that I don't have the same thing. She said, I'm glad you think that I'm in a healthy body weight and that I'm skinny, but you have no idea what's going on in here. And I was like, oh. So she graciously, my therapist graciously got me a list of resources. And one of them was OA. And it turned out that she was friends with somebody who's in the rooms, and it's somebody that I knew from childhood. And that was my first God shot, my first aha moment. It was my first, if I'm going to make program work, I'm going to take these um, coincidences and these little lucky moments in my life, and I'm going to turn them into God moments. And that was one. And I reconnected with him, and he's great in the rooms. And I just am blessed to have reconnected. Um, but I came into the rooms, and I kicked and I screamed. I had gone to two meetings over the course of 30 years. Um, and I said, nope, never. Don't hold my hand. Don't tell me you're going to be my friend. Don't tell me. Nope, never. I was the queen of never. And I had a voice, I had like an answering machine at the time, and whoever the newcomer or greeter was must have called 3 or 4 times and left messages on my answering machine. I'm like, she really needs to stop calling because I am not calling her back, nor am I going to the meeting. And I moved, um, not far, but there was a big meeting right down the block from me, Serenity Sunday, that would get, before COVID, 100 people in the meeting. I went to that meeting too. And I walked in, and there were a couple people that I vaguely knew. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going there. I know people. I'm not going. So two meetings in about 30 years, and then comes COVID, and I'm crying, and I'm like, it's Zoom. I don't have to hold your hands. Um, and actually, because you're so far and it's hermetically sealed in these bubbles. And I got a sponsor. I don't know why my camera keeps turning off. Oh, my internet's unstable. Sorry. Um, so, um, so I got to the rooms, and it was really hard. I fell in with some wonderful people, and this is another, I'm grateful, I live in a big city and there's a lot of recovery here. So I had somewhat of an easy time building a herd. I kind of had 3 sponsors in relatively short amount of time. Um, but I found what I needed, right? I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know what to ask. You know, it's hard to find somebody who has what you have, um, and ask them to sponsor, who has what you want and ask them to sponsor you. it's very hard in the rooms, right? A lot of times we come to these meetings, our cameras are off. My camera's off right now. But you don't get to know, you don't get to know people. And so one is I encourage you to keep your cameras on so we can get to know you and to share, really, so we can get to know you. Um, and I built a God squad. I built a herd. And I remember the first time I went out for a meal with them during COVID and we sat outside and I was so nervous. I almost had to cancel. I was so nervous for them to see my body. I was so nervous for them to see me eat. It was all the things, right? I was in high school again, but I survived, right? And, and this is the thing about your God squad, right? They need to they need to really be able to check you on your bullshit. I have a lot of bullshit. And I had somebody that day of that dinner who wasn't coming to the dinner and said, just cancel. And the truth is people in my God squad needed to say, put on your big girl pants and get to the dinner and meet your fellows. So those are the people I need in my God squad, right? Those are the people who are going to check my crap, not people who are going to yes me because I can yes myself. And I didn't realize until I came into the program how isolating this disease is. I thought I was really social and blah, blah, blah. No, I was isolating. You binge, you feel sick. You know, I'd be so sick. I'd lie in bed and then I'd want to cancel my next day. I didn't want to face anybody because I thought you could see right into me and knew the damage I had done. And I did damage. Oh, I didn't talk about the damage that I did, but I basically suck in all day, hold in every emotion, every thought all day from the time I got to work until the time like the bell rang, the whistle blew, like Fred Flintstone, the whistle would blow and I'd be off to the races, right? I'd stop at the market on the way home. There was something I'd like to eat in the car. There was something I'd like to eat on the highway. There was something I'd eat, I was off to the races. So in the rooms, I worked the steps in the big book. I I heard somebody in a meeting saying, my sponsor read each page out loud with me, and I decided I needed that, and I did need that, and I do that with my sponsees, right? And I went through the pages, and and I found some recovery, and it was good for a while, you know, and it was good for a while. But I still wasn't really dealing with the buildup of human emotion, as my friend Harlan likes to say. And to me, the buildup of human emotion looks like the worst traffic jam. It starts and it just slowly builds, right? Little slower, little slower, little slower. I don't necessarily notice it at first until I stop. And when I stop, the fridge flies open. Everything flies open. That's it. All bets are off. I'm in it. I'm in the food. So I had a lot going on personally. No excuse. I actually was dealing with that better than I thought I could. My father, in just before his 90th birthday, had COVID. He left his lungs compromised. I changed sponsors again. Um, and my sponsor is, I hate this term, but he's a vision sponsor, right? He's part of that group, very in the book, very service oriented, very God oriented. And he switched my thinking around. He helped me with a real attitude adjustment. And I started showing up for my family, saying, how can I be of service? And I started doing things, one, because I wanted to serve God and I wanted to serve my family. And I didn't know how to give selflessly like that. Um, so it was amazing. But as much as my family life was improving or was more manageable, I'll say, because my work life didn't. And I had some stuff in the rooms around the birthday party, and I had some stuff at work, and I was still trying to fix, manage, and control at work. And it looked like this. And it's such a crazy thing because I was thinking about it last night and I hadn't really thought about it in a long time. But I knew better than everyone at work, and I wanted to do things my way. I wanted to do the things I wanted to do because knew that they'd be successful. And so I said, we need to have these 3 breakfasts at work. And they said, we don't have money for catering. And I said, but we need to do them all manage the food. But I was holding things so tightly and trying to fix, manage, and control that I think I made breakfast for 12 for the meeting, and I ate breakfast for 12 in my kitchen. And it was ugly, and it was a relapse of epic proportions. Um, but I didn't leave the room. And I think the hardest thing I've ever had to do in program was to call my sponsor and God Squad and a couple people to tell them that I was in relapse. But I got back on the horse, and um, the question is, what are you going to do differently this time? And this time, every time I'm itchy, twitchy, and bitchy, I got to do something. And what do I do with those feelings, right? It's the 10-11 dance. And this is how my sponsor explained it to me, is that 10 and 11, it should be 10/11, right? They go together. And I'm trying to explain it to my sponsees as well. They go together. When is it that I need to pick up the phone, do some writing, do a 10? And when is it that I need to plug in, pray, and meditate? What can I give to God? And that's my question now, I think, before I do the 10 step. God, can you take this fear from me? I want to give it to you. You can handle it better than I can. And if that doesn't work, then I need to pick up the phone, and it needs to be pretty fast, right? I hear people say, I don't do my 10 steps until the end of the day. I'm like, well, that sounds like a traffic jam to me. I have to do them right away, right? I mean, sometimes I plug in and I'm like, oh, this is good. I connected, I plugged into God, it's resolved. And then sometimes I wake up in the morning and I still am holding it, right? And I call Rita and I'm like, this is shit, you know? Um, I'm getting better at it, staying plugged in. I'm getting better at connecting to God throughout the day. I have a little God timer on my phone. I'm holding up my phone. I know my camera's not on, but I hold up my my phone because I have a God timer that goes off every hour that says little things like "Thy will, not mine, be done," right? And I check in and I'm like, are my feet pointed in the right direction? I ask am I being of service? I do my nightly review. I try to do my nightly review. Lately, it's been a little spotty. And even that, like I feel a little out of whack when I'm not on top of it. But I take that relapse because it was such a clear thing, right? I had this buildup of human emotion, something in the rooms was brewing for me, and then work, and and I didn't deal with it. I didn't deal with it. I can't fix, manage, or control it, but I can let it go. I can give it away. There's so many people on this meeting. I can give it away to one of you, right? And I can call somebody in my God squad and they can check me on it. You know, my friend Adam tells me, don't let the rooms keep you out of the rooms, you know? And I have to remember that, right? I'm one of many. I am one of many in the rooms. How can I be of service in the rooms? And the other thing he's very fond of saying is, if you stay out of the shit, you'll be out of the shit, right? And I have to remember that too. I've got a lot of sisters. There's a lot of gossip. I've got to, it's a daily reminder. I need to stay out of it.
That's time.
I need to stay out of the trouble. These are not, I don't want to make trouble. I don't want to cause trouble. I want to stay in recovery. I want to give these things away. And I can. I can. That's what program is teaching me.
It's
right?
time. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can.
Oh,
Okay.
great.
Anyway, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. I hope you got something out of it. And with that, I'll pass.
Well, Hilary, thank you so much for a tremendous, just a tremendous message of depth and weight. So sorry we had to put the camera off because your internet was dropping quite badly. I was just going to read a bit out of the big book that really sums that up on page 17. It says, "We are people who normally would not mix, but there exists among us a fellowship, a friendliness, and an understanding which is indescribably wonderful." Goes on to say, "The feeling of having shared in common peril is one element in the powerful cement which binds us, but that in itself would never have held us together as we are now joined. The tremendous fact for every one of us is that we have discovered a common solution."